Oh man, I apologize for the craziness you're about to see. You are about to witness someone be what's a PG way to put this? I don't think there is a PG way to put this, but gutted like a fish. Yeah, not literally. Before y'all like, whoa, Rich, whoa. No. I have this video with a Democrat influencer by the name of Luke Beasley. He went on a show with Tim Pool, Timcast IRL, and he was absolutely embarrassed by Tim Pool. I mean, stunned into utter silence. I mean, just listen. Shout out to Tim Pool, man. Big shout out to Tim Pool. Maybe I'll come on the show one time. But big shout out to Tim Pool because he absolutely embarrassed this Democrat influencer. And I put air quotations because what is an influencer? I don't know. He's got like 1 million subscribers on YouTube. Luke Beasley does just over 1 million, I believe. So he's a pretty well-known guy in the political sphere on the Democrat side. So if this is what the Democrat Party is offering up as their influencers, woo! Yeah. It's going to be a rough 4 years, probably 8, maybe more than that. It's going to be real rough if this is what they have to offer. But with that being said, get your popcorn ready, baby. It's going to be one hell of a show. Let's dive in.
You have.
No,
right.
I
So
haven't.
no. Stop. You don't know anything about these January 6 cases. You don't know why these people are in jail. You don't know that a man is in Brooklyn right now for 3 years without charge or trial. And when Donald Trump says these people have been held for too long, you say, no, Trump is wrong. Keep them locked up. That's fucking fascist. Dude, you've been sitting here with no knowledge of the specifics of some of these cases. There is a man in Brooklyn right now. I'm going to say it again. No charges whatsoever brought. He's been in jail for 3 fucking years. For you to sit there and say it is good that he remains locked up is fascism. That is saying the hierarchical system of the courts and the government is just, and the process is all that matters. And I am saying perhaps 3 years is enough. Because I actually have moral logic and an understanding of these cases. Hence, my position on January 6th has always been the people who have attacked police must go to prison. But 3 years is a fucking long time for assault on an officer. We have seen people on the far left, notably when they were firebombing shit all across Minnesota, 33 people murdered. And how many criminal charges do we get for this? When they firebombed a police station and forced the police to evacuate. On May 29th, 2020, when thousands of far leftists firebombed the White House grounds and set fire to St. John's Church and injured 100 police officers. How many fucking people went to prison for 3 years? How many of them who never showed up on that day are in prison for 20 years? Enrique Tarrio wasn't even in D.C. on January 6th. And you are saying that man who his only crime was, quote, don't leave. That's his only crime. You think he should be in prison for 20 years because you're a fascist. You don't care what the facts are. You don't care if this is unjust. You only care that the machine state has decreed you are not to be locked up. And this is the problem I have with the left. They don't know the facts. They don't care about the facts. They view morality as a blanket government stroke of the pen, and every person, regardless of their crime, should be in prison for decades. I reject it outright. The people who fought cops should go to prison. They did. It's been 3 years. But when you've got people who are on misdemeanor charges for having walked into a building at 4 p.m. after the riot, and I know some of these people, they walked into a building for 2 minutes and walked out, and they got 18 months for that. I don't see you defending the innocent people who walked onto a public grass at a public building after a riot had been completed. You don't know. You don't care. You've taken a tribal position and people are suffering because of it. Now you say that Donald Trump saying the injustice that we've seen warrants commutation or pardons. You say that means he's advocating for violence. This is the ultimate problem. Then you cite a press release from Maryland saying, but the right's more violent. There is a distinction between a white supremacist as a right-wing group and a run-of-the-mill Christian conservative who showed up on that day not to protest. Let's talk about Brandon Strzok. He never went in the building. He was on the other side of the building. There was a permitted protest. He walked up the stairs and he was yelling. They put this guy in prison. There is Owen Schroyer, who was at a permitted rally who was yelling death to communists. They put him in prison and specifically cited his speech. My dude, you don't know what you're talking about. And it's fine. I get it. We try to be polite. We try to be nice. But there are so many young liberals who sit here and say, the corporate press told me that these people are bad and the machine state government has decreed it by pen. So I don't care what crime they committed. I don't care what the jury said. I don't care who was on the jury. Enrique Tarrio, who was not there, should be in prison for 2 decades. Tell me this now. Why is Enrique Tarrio in prison?
Yeah, so they uncovered with him his plot to overthrow the government.
Enrique Tarry's?
Yeah, and his organization.
What plot? Who's they?
Wait for it.
Give me some
prosecutors.
Give me some fucking data. Stop squinting at me and saying the prosecutors did a thing. You didn't know. You didn't read it. You didn't read the court papers. All you know is the fascist machine state told you he should be in prison, and you're saying yes to them.
Hey, listen, I have first-hand experience with that. And listen, I love Tim Pool's passion because I get frustrated with this stuff too. People, when you get into discussions with leftists, like they'll say something and it'll be like, "Did you even read that?" You're literally just repeating something that you heard. You haven't even read the case. You haven't like looked into it to make sure that, hey, let's try to figure out if this person is lying to me or telling me the whole truth or nothing but the truth. You don't have any idea about any of the details. Not a single one. You start asking these folks about any of the details about any of this stuff that they January 6th, right? As Tim Pool is doing, and they can't tell you. They can't tell you. They'll give you blanket statements. Blanket statements every single time. Pay attention to this. The next time y'all get into a debate with the Democrat, right? With the leftists, pay attention to what they say. They give you blanket statements. It's never details. It's never, hey, it's never nuance. It's never, well, this was this way because of this, X, Y, and Z. Here are the facts about this here. It's always blanket because it's something that they're repeating that they heard. Never have done their own research. That gets so effing frustrating when you're talking to these folks. It's so frustrating because it's just like, bro, you're like a robot, man. I've heard this line 1,000 times from y'all. It's just the same old tired line. The same old tired line. For example, J6. Let's stay on this topic. Whenever you're talking about whenever you're talking to a leftist about J6, they always say, "Well, Trump caused the insurrection," and it's like, well, what did Trump say at his rally that caused the insurrection? Well, he told his followers to like go break into the Capitol. Where did he say that? Well, at the rally. Pull up the video where he actually. Have you ever watched his actual speech at the rally? Well, no, but you know, it always goes like that every single time, and it is so frustrating. But let's jump back into what Tim Pool was saying.
Tell me why. Give me the data.
I understand that laws on the books have been there for a long time that I agree with, that if it's proven that you had a plan and you wanted to act on it, and then days after.
What's
the proof? Is
say the proof.
By prosecutors.
Don't ask. Say it.
Communications between.
What communications? What did he say? What did he do?
Is this serious?
Are you going to tell me why you think Enrique Tarrio should be in prison for 20 years, or are you going to say the government decreed it?
I just explained to you.
So the government said so. Is that it?
It's usually law enforcement, which I guess is a part of the government.
Government said so?
Yep.
Law enforcement
that uncovers evidence of communications, a memo that he crafted and sent to his organization.
Saying what?
That detailed each institution of government that they were going to try to overthrow. Then just days later, his organization is at the Capitol.
I don't think we can even pull up Enrique Tarrio.
I'm not quite sure that there's any evidence of that.
And also, this is also the crazy thing. When people say, well, the Trump supporters were going to overthrow the government. Explain to me how people running into a building is going to overthrow the most powerful military on this planet. Explain that to me. We have bombs the size of buses, and people running into a building is all of a sudden just going to overthrow the government? Really? Like, some people are really that dense. I'm so serious. We have bombs the size of buses, but, you know, people running into a government building, yeah, that's completely overthrowing the government. Yeah. a building where there's no military, right? It's not like the military. We had our military there at the building, and these folks who ran into the Capitol, defeated our military, and then they ran into the Capitol. Like, no. It was the people that ran into a building. No military there. No gun battle, no gunfight, right? No bombs being launched, no bombs being dropped. Nothing. Just people running into a building. They were overthrowing the government. Make that make sense. If that were true, do you know what type of trouble we would be in? If all it took was some people running into a Capitol building, we would be utterly, I'm going to keep it peachy. We would be utterly effed. Because all somebody would have to do is send some of their officials from their country over here and run into a building and, oh, we conquered America! We got America! You are now part of the whatever, right? You are ours now. We're taking over this place. Like, what? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, it makes no sense. But because these people have heard it on the news, right, on MSDNC or CNN, they just repeat it. And it doesn't even make sense. If you stop and thought about it for a half a freaking second, it doesn't make sense.
Sort.
Yeah. You know what? I'll say this. The idea that Enrique Tarrio crafted a memo outlining or they 3 months featured witness evidence featured Tarrio and co-defense included videos, thousands of messages in encrypted chat groups, as well as a public message on Parler. On or before January 6th, Tarrio convened a Ministry of Self-Defense to coordinate Proud Boys leadership on January 6th. The chat showed that Tarrio, stationed in Baltimore, encouraged the Proud Boys as they attacked the Capitol. Let's figure out what that encouragement was. Are they going to actually say in the article? So here's a citation. Proud Boy and 3 other members of the far-right groups were convicted Thursday in a plot to attack the Capitol. A jury in Washington, D.C. found Tarrio and 3 lieutenants guilty of seditious conspiracy after hearing dozens of witnesses. Jurors cleared a 5th defendant, Dominic Pizzola, on a citizen charge and a significant milestone of the Justice Department, which is now secured a conspiracy, blah, blah, blah. They will never stop. Okay, that's interesting. Wikipedia asserts that they did this, but there's actually nothing in the news article that actually states that is true. Well, now we got a problem. Let's try this again. Let's try a secondary source. Let's see. There it is. They introduced evidence that Tarrio discussed with associates a plan to have a large crowd in Washington storm government buildings in a scheme they called 1776 Returns, in which the Winter Palace was used as an apparent code for the U.S. Capitol. In a message, he said, make no mistake, we did this, do what must be done, and he directed the Proud Boys to do it again. So the question then becomes, in the bigger picture...
So are you going to at all acknowledge that you just blew up over something that I was absolutely citing fairly?
I don't think you cited it fairly.
I think people should be prosecuted for engaging in plans to overthrow a government. That's kind of
that's a very loose definition of plans to overthrow the government.
Y'all don't seem to be that informed.
Wait, look, respectfully, I cover a lot of protests and riots. A lot of people try to protest and riot and occupy government buildings. Do you think that qualifies as trying to, overthrow your government?
No.
Okay, good. So, I mean...
but if they had a plan to take control of the government, which was this one.
If this was an actual plan, this was the leastly poorly, most
over the government?
ridiculous plan ever. They went after people for having Lego sets of the Capitol. Yeah. I mean, the level of political prosecution. Would you even admit that there was some level of politics when it came to the prosecution of the J6ers? Would you say politics played a role in this?
Engaging with this as thoughtfully as possible, not trying to grandstand. Of course, often for very justifiable reasons, prosecutors will try to make an example of someone who, for example, tried to overthrow the government to prevent the peaceful transfer of power. I see why such a thing,
personally, I reject
categorized as sedition,
overthrow the government,
would be uniquely bad to prosecutors and political in that this all involved politics, right? And thus,
I'm sorry, I have to say this. Sent. The Wikipedia article making those claims is not citing any actual proof that they said those things.
So yeah, you heard that there. Absolutely embarrassed on Tim Pool's show. Big shout out to Tim Pool, man. Absolutely embarrassing this guy because this stuff has gotten ridiculous. Like I said, they just offer blanket statements and haven't read any of the details of anything, right? When they're talking about this stuff, they just repeat what they've heard. Don't do a lick of research, not even an ounce of it. You start asking these folks about any type of details, and they can't give it to you. They have absolutely nothing to say once you start asking them about details. Absolutely nothing. Like, this guy was plotting to overthrow a government? Really? I don't know, man. I just have a hard time even buying that that's even remotely true. Like, if you're going to overthrow an entire government, you're going to need a lot more than people running into a building. I'm sorry. Like, that's just facts. I'm not advocating for any of that to happen. Obviously, that's not good stuff. It's illegal, of course. That's bad. But I'm just saying, like, you're going to need a lot more than just running into a building. Like, that's just foolish. That's asinine. Like, I was about to say something crazy. You have to be out of your ever-loving mind if you think that is going to work. Or if you even think that's overthrowing a government because you ran into a building and, woo, you occupied a building. Woo! Well, here comes that bomb I was talking about. That's the size of a bus that's about to flatten the building that you're standing in, while all the government officials are, somewhere off safe. So, see ya. You're about to be turned into a red mist. All right? Conversation over. Like, what are we talking about, bro? Like, it makes absolutely no sense. No sense whatsoever. None. But hey, who am I? I'm just a guy that talks online from time to time. But let me know your thoughts and your opinions, of course. Thanks for tuning in. Peace and love. I'm out.